Barmy Badger Army. I hope you're all well, guys. Welcome to today's show. We're finally using the new tripod, thanks to you guys. Wouldn't have been able to get that without the donations and all the help, so thank you very much. And without further ado, welcome to my messy kitchen and welcome to today's CeX pickups video. So as I've probably mentioned before, we've cancelled Now TV, which was a bit of a hard pill to swallow. But it's just one of these things, and we're now going to be getting DVDs and different things like that that are a lot cheaper, that will last longer, and you can watch more and things like that. Death of Rats did actually mention that Netflix is going up as well, which is a bit painful, so watch out if I actually announce that I've cancelled my Netflix account, which is painful but true. Okay, so without further ado, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about some of these films. Some I've seen before, some I haven't. Some are for the boss and some are for me. So here you go. I was watching this last night, which is Wesley Snipes' Blade, which I think is the precursor to one of the best franchises in Marvel history, which is of course the MCU. Now, a little bit of a story with this. Now, in my eyes, by the way, guys, so I want to know if you disagree. Before Blade came out, there was no really good comic book films. There was nothing really that really stood out. There was nothing that really sort of bit into the movie industry. And Wesley Snipes managed to pull it off. He did a dark, gritty, somewhat comedic in some ways, action film with a horror twist performance. Now, this is definitely one of my favourite films. It has aged well and is really good. And you can pick up a copy for it for 50p. So I think this is really good fun. The special effects still hold up. The action scenes definitely still hold up. I've seen some great action. The first 25 minutes is off the chart, really memorable, really good stuff. I recommend it. If you've not seen Blade before, I recommend it. 2 and 3 are okay, but not as good as the first one. So pick this up if you haven't seen it already. Wesley Snipes' Blade, vampire hunting action with loads of gore, loads of humour, and a rocking soundtrack. And I also recommend the PlayStation 1 game as well. The controls are a bit wonky, but it's a good, solid action game as well. So I do recommend the game of this as well. The controls are a bit wonky, but it's a good game. And you can probably pick that up fairly cheap as well. Right, Blade 2. Yes, Blade 2 is a really good one. This one has, of course, the follow-up to the first one. Some of the continuity is a bit wonky, because obviously, without too many spoilers, if you haven't seen it before, Whistler comes back. There's a few different things in there that they should have changed. It was a few years afterwards. It's still a good film. It's got one of the Bros brothers in it. It's a really fun film. Really good special effects. Great action. Some good, more comedy as well. One of my favourite lines from the first Blade film, I can't repeat, but it's near the end of the film, and it's hilarious. So I recommend watching these ones. This one's actually got some extras on it, and it's got like a video game survival guide and all these different things. So I do recommend these as well. They are pretty good. This one actually has got quite a lot of extras on it for 50p once again. So I would definitely recommend these. Please do check out CeX for lots of bargains, because getting them lots there. So that's enough about Blade. And here we go. Now this is a bit of a guilty pleasure here. I'm probably going to get the original ones as well, so I thought I'd pick this up. Superman Returns. This is obviously a sequel to the original 70s and 80s films, and I recommend this. It was a bit of a weird step with Bryan Singer. I wish he'd have come back for more X-Men films instead, because the X-Men franchise did suffer because of this film, which was a shame. But I do recommend it. It's okay if you like cheese. If you love cheesy action and superhero films, I recommend it. An easy 50p spent there to while away a couple of hours if you're bored. I recommend it. It's good. Okay. Now, as you can see, a lot of the films that I've picked are horror and vampire related. This one is no exception, Underworld. So this is like a special edition cover with, I suppose you would call it like fluorescent covering. I don't know if you can catch that there. And that is still 50p. And this is one of my favourites as well. Came out probably, it's either around about the same time as Blade or a few years after. And this one's really good. It's all about the vampire versus werewolf war rather than Blade being vampires versus vampires. This is vampires versus werewolves, and it goes along the same themes. You know, it talks a lot about the old vampires and how their war continues on. I think the story sort of lost its way after like the third one, and it started to not make as much sense. But the first two are really good, so I recommend Underworld 1 and 2. I think I need to pick up number 2 actually at some point. Right, Step Up 2. This is probably a really guilty pleasure of mine. I do actually like Step Up films. They're easy to watch, they're daft, they're fun, they've got some cool music tracks in, and there's lots of dancing. So, you know, if you like really simple storylines, some silly fun, and lots of community-based shenanigans, I guess, because there are lots of all the, you know, there's a big friendship group and they all sort of band together to save the day, and they all help each other, and they have a big dance-off, and then they win lots of money and sort their lives out. So it's one of those ones. It's like a coming-of-age drama comedy with lots of dancing and lots of fun. And I recommend them. They're easy to watch and they're quite laughable. It's quite fun. Now, this is probably the most expensive one I paid for, just because we've been to see this at the cinema twice, and it is really fun. Really good laugh. I really love SpiderVerse. If you haven't seen the review of it, it's on the channel. I'll try and link it in. I did a review of it when it first came out. You've got lots of different spider characters from the SpiderVerse. You've got Gwen Stacy, you've got the normal Spider-Man, you've got Miles Morales, you've got Spider-Man Noir, you've got lots of different characters in here, lots of good storylines, a female Dr. Octopus, which was fun, a new twist on it, some good villains in there like the Prowler, Green Goblin, and of course Kingpin. So it's a real hoot, really good animation, won lots of awards. Definitely worth £8. So I would definitely recommend that. Now this one's a bit of a guilty pleasure again. This one was £1, which I sort of begrudgingly paid for. This is a bit of a grower. It actually gets better the more you watch it. Ghostbusters Answer the Call is one of these films where, to begin with, if you keep looking at it and you go, oh yeah, it's not like the first two, why isn't it like the first two, and you're sort of moaning about that, then you will not enjoy this film. If you forget about the first two films and just see it as its own thing, it's really good. I can understand why people didn't enjoy it. There was a few missteps there. They should have used the original cast in a different way. What they could have done was basically had the original cast come in, be too old, and then they needed new Ghostbusters to answer the call. Hence why it would have actually made a bit more sense, and the storyline and everything else would have worked. They just needed to probably rejiggle one or two things, and then the storyline would have worked and they could have had the original cast in. But other than that, a really good film. This is like a special DVD release where it almost overlaps across the screen, if that makes sense. It's a widescreen presentation, but the effects spill over. It's hard to explain unless you watch it. I recommend this. £1, not too bad. Please do check that out and let me know what you think. This was not mine, but once again, probably another guilty pleasure. Sex in the City. If you've seen the series, it's well worth a look. The tone of the DVD is a bit different. It's more light-hearted. There is some drama along the way, but it is quite good. Lots of saucy references, if you like that sort of thing. Lots of girlish humour, if you find that funny. And sort of like the average things that happen to females of a certain age. So I do recommend it. I would probably bag these up together, and if you wanted a cheesy afternoon, you could watch the Step Up films and the Sex and the City films together. They're quite cheesy, quite fun, quite easy to watch. Now on to 90s thrillers. So Swim Fan's quite a good little film. I've enjoyed this before and we watched it again recently. It's a really good thriller if you like that sort of teen horror thriller along the lines of I Know What You Did Last Summer and things like that. It's a quite interesting film. It's all about, obviously, one girl's obsession with a famous swimmer. I can't really tell you too much about the storyline, but I would recommend it. Really good for 50p, well worth a watch. Tim Burton's The Corpse Bride. Now this is one of my favourites. Tim Burton is definitely one of my favourite directors, or whatever you want to call him at the present time. Batman and Batman Returns, of course, one of my favourite films of all time. The original Batman films are awesome, and on that alone, I recommend his other works. Tim Burton's animation's fantastic, along with, of course, Nightmare Before Christmas and all that sort of thing. If you like that, you'll definitely like The Corpse Bride. Really fun, quite scary at some points for little uns, but a really good, fun watch. I do recommend The Corpse Bride. Really good. Once again, for 50p. So that was really good. Obviously, it's got lots of different characters you may know before, so please do check it out. And of course, Tim Burton's favourite actors and actresses are in this, so please do check that out if you enjoy that sort of thing. Right, Clueless. This is probably a bit of a bane of my life because this is definitely a good film, but it's so cheesy, it's untrue. And obviously, 90s America in a DVD capsule forever. So I recommend it if you like 90s cheese with Alicia Silverstone. It reminds me of the original Buffy film, which I've got to try and pick up because that's pure cheese. If you like Buffy the Vampire Slayer, you could definitely bundle these two up and watch the original Buffy film and this before Joss Whedon got hold of Buffy. Turned the tone a bit differently, and but it was really good fun. But what I liked about Joss Whedon is that most of the original film is still canon, which I think is pretty cool. But yeah, I recommend these. Clueless is fun to watch. The TV series is okay as well if you fancy a look. This was 50p as well. Well worth a look. 500 Days of Summer. Another 50p DVD, I believe. Yes, this is very good. This was a really good film with Jason Gordon-Levitt and Zooey Deschanel. I had to read that to make sure I got the name right. But yes, this is very much a coming-of-age game of life where the characters find and fall in love and then fall out of love and then fall in love and then fall out of love again, and they're not quite too sure what's going on. And neither is really sure either. And I think that's an interesting concept and very modern, very interesting. Will they find love? Watch it and see. It's a great comedy with some bittersweet moments in, very watchable. Every man and woman has probably been in a situation like this at some point during their life, so it can get a bit close to the mark for that sort of thing. You may cry by the end, I warn you, but a good film. Recommend it. Very much a piece of its time. There, lots of the characters go to bars and play on the Nintendo Wii a lot, but it's fun and a really good film. So if you like watching that sort of thing, I recommend this. For 50p, you can't really go wrong if you've got an hour or two to kill. Right, okay, The Devil Wears Prada. Now, once again, I did not choose this film, but it's cheesy and easy to watch with Glenn Close and others. It's sort of like the premise of Ugly Betty before Ugly Betty was a thing. It should really be called Ugly Betty the movie if they released it now. But yes, it's really good, really fun. Very cheesy. Anne Hathaway from Batman, Catwoman fame. So if you're a fan of her, you can watch that and have an oogle, no doubt, at her antics. But yes, I definitely recommend Devil Wears Prada. It's a good film, quite easy to watch. Very much like a day-in sort of cheesy film that you could watch along with Clueless and of course Step Up and lots of different things like that. And of course Sex in the City, I recommend that. But yes, and last but not least, one that we picked up the other weekend, which was Go Go Power Rangers. And if you haven't seen my Battle for the Grid streams, please do watch those. Casual plug if you haven't caught up with those. We've been doing them, and we've been doing lots of Power Rangers content lately too. So we've got Mighty Morphin Power Rangers the movie, and Turbo, a Power Rangers movie, which was a TV show film that I believe that they did do a small release of at the cinema at the time, but it wasn't a big Hollywood blockbuster. It was like a longer episode, if you know what I mean. But yes, so Power Rangers the movie and Turbo Power Rangers, really good. 50p once again for 2 films, that's 25 pence per film. Can't really moan about that. Really did like that. Of course, in the first one, they fight Ivan Ooze, a horrendous villain from early in the world's conception. And obviously it all takes place in Angel Grove, and the bad guys have got to be thwarted by the Power Rangers. And obviously they have to fight and find new powers to defeat Ivan, because obviously he's OP. Of course, in the second one, you have the space alien Divatox, who is one of my favourite villains of all time. She's very jokey, very fun, and perhaps the most OP villain ever. And she manages to, of course, destroy the Zeo Crystal, which is pretty intense, really, seeing as though the Zeo Crystal was one of the most powerful weapons that the Power Rangers ever had. And then she managed to destroy it, and they had to get new powers that were slightly worse. But yes, Turbo Power Rangers film is a good film, but, you know, it doesn't make sense that they would, of course, get powers that were slightly different and then them not be as good as the powers they had before. But still a good film and still quite fun. But yes, I do miss the Zeo Cristo stuff, because that was really good stuff. That was a really good time period in the Power Rangers universe. But yes, let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. It's a bit random that the original Power Rangers film isn't canon anymore, but Turbo Power Rangers film is. So that's very bizarre. But yes, let me know your thoughts on this DVD haul in the comments below, and I will see you soon. Thanks for watching Barmy Badger Army. Keep safe, keep well, and if you haven't caught up with all the streams, please do. And if you do become a member, every penny goes back to all the different things that are in the description. If you super chat or help the show in any way, thank you very much for all your help and all your donations. And if you would like a custom commission of any drawing and that, get in touch with me, or any other merch or anything like that, please do hit me up in the DMs. Right, thank you very much for watching, guys. If you haven't subscribed or liked or shared yet, please do, and I will see you next time for more Badger antics. Bye for now, Barmy Badger Army. Keep safe, keep well, and much love. And let me know if you've picked up any new DVDs yourself this month. See you later. Bye. See you later on, everyone. Bye. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye, guys.